Welcome to the Course Creators Circle podcast, where we talk all things course creation with your host, ideas strategist, and Thinkific approved expert, Linda Reed-Enever. The Course Creators Circle podcast is home to Linda's top tips, along with interviews with experts and course creators just like you. Get ready for practical tips you can implement in your course creation journey with your host, Linda Reed-Enever.
Hi everyone, Linda Reed-Enever, and welcome back to the Course Creator Circle podcast. Today we're going to look at some ways that you can boost your online completion rate for your course. But I really want to start this episode by understanding what online course completion rates are all about. Self-paced learning, which is most of our online courses, is a little bit harder to create that, dedicated completion rate. And even those of us who've trained in the classroom know that not all students pay attention, and they might be there for the whole course, but they are maybe not completing the whole course. Now, there's a couple of factors that add into this. A is the distraction of everything else going on in their life. B is that online learners come to us with a pain point. They come with us with a need that they need the solution and the answer to. And your course might be the answer to that, but the answer that they want and they need, and the thing that's motivating them to learn, might be answered in lesson 1, or it might be answered in lesson 5 or 6 of your course. But once the student has that answer, their intrinsic motivation, their self-motivation is gone, because the answer and the pain point they came for has been answered. They are no longer in pain. So therefore, their motivation to continue, even though the content that you've created may be great, just means that the motivation for the student to continue learning is no longer there. Now, we can increase that motivation in a number of ways, and we're going to look at that today. Before we look at this, let's have a look at some statistics around course completion rates. In 2018, Columbia University's Teachers College did a study on Coursera and online courses, and they showed that the minimum completion rate was about 15% or less. And the industry standards, in my view and my feeling, still sit around that at about 20 to 25%. The rate can approach up to 40% of completion rate. And that's data that dates back to 2015, but the average remains roughly around 15%. The situation changed in 2019 and 2021 when we had lockdowns and we had more people wanting to learn courses. So they were able to engage with that online content a little bit more. And we saw that the study basically looked up about the 35%. So what it's really showing us is that if we get a good completion rate of about 25% or 30%, we are doing well within our course creation journey. However, a little boost of engagement in our course creation journey is never going to hurt that journey going through. So we're going to look at some activities that you can do to help boost your course engagement. And number one engagement activity that you can do from your course is to make sure that your course content is being delivered in bite-sized chunks that deliver small wins to your students. The next thing that you can do is make sure that you have a good, strong nurture sequence of emails that guide your students through your course. And that is, your welcome email is number 1. You might have an email goes out that day 2 or day 3, encouraging them to maybe look at what they've learned, look at what they've taken along the way. Another one out at maybe day 5, depending on how much you want to pace the learning out. And if you're doing a drip-based course, that nurture sequence is essential to remind people that they have new content, new information, and new things to learn. The other thing we can do as course creators to make sure we're getting better engagement in our course is to make the course itself more interactive. Now, I'm a big one for video. You will hear me say use video because it includes the audio, it includes the face, it includes the connection with you as a teacher. The next thing I love is interactive workbooks. Now, I'm a big fan of Wobo workbooks. They have the amazing opportunity for you to be able to bring in slides, polls, have your student download the workbook, have them to be able to submit it to you for feedback. So it's an amazing tool to be able to do it. And the beautiful thing about Wobo is they have a workbook that they can either print out, or you can have modules embedded of the workbook along as you go and teach the course content, and they cement their learning as they go through. The third tool that I love to use in my course creation journey is gamification, not high-tech gamification that you have to get out of your head and, make sure that you have got a tech degree. I'm talking about simple gamification, like Who Loves Confetti? We use the player app that Rob Galvin has created, and it, gives confetti at different moments. It encourages people, if they log in and they haven't, completed the course for a while, we give a little encouraging message along the way. And we also use another one with Rob's thing called Side Nav, which allows us to be able to teach our students how to use the course and how to use the check they've just got access to. The biggest thing when it comes to our course creation journey is making sure that we give our students the opportunity to be able to learn what they need to learn when they want to. So if you've not got a short completion rate and you end your course at maybe the 60 or 90 day mark, possibly look at extending it. Maybe that we haven't given our students enough time to access the course content. The other thing that we can do is we can look at, okay, our completion rate's not great. I'd like to boost it. Do I want to look at running a cohort? Do I want to look at running that evergreen course over a 6 or a 7 or 8 week period? Run it live, run it with people, still deliver the same content, but get a little bit of student feedback about maybe where they're getting stuck. It's one of the best ways to find out where your students are getting stuck is to run a live version and see where the almost deer in headlights moment appears, and maybe you've got to explain something more or do something more. The other component is running the course either with some Q&A support or some membership options for people to be able to access you. Now, I have my Marketing Circle membership as well as my Course Creator Circle membership where people come and ask me questions about marketing, about course creation. That gives me a bit of an idea when we run that Q&A about what I need to teach next, what maybe is missing from the courses, and how do we put some things in. And they're a great community because I get first access to my courses to get a bit of an understanding about what else I need to put into courses and things along the way. And then the final thing that you can do is you could run an open Q&A. And I've seen many course creators do this very, very well. I'm going to be online between 7 and 8 tonight. Please come and ask me your questions about where we're sitting with the courses. Or it might be 9 or 10. And you run a couple of questions. And now it could be about any of your courses. The beautiful thing is you can cross-sell them. But it's also an opportunity for people to come to you and have questions and find you as an approachable teacher. Now, course creation is all about being present to teach people, but being able to do it in an evergreen model. But it does mean sometimes we need to show up. We show up via video, we show up via email, and we can show up via Q&As. So I hope these tips will help you increase your course completion rate. Remember, try one strategy at a time. You don't need to try everything at once, but make sure that you are guiding your students, you're supporting them along that journey to learn with you. And pat yourself on the back if you are sitting within those statistical rates of having a course completion rate between that 15 to 35%. And remember, wins come in different formats for different students, just the same as they have for you in your course creation journey.
Thank you for listening to the Course Creators Circle podcast. Don't forget to check out the full range of resources available for course creators at www.thecoursecreatorscircle.com.au.